If I can, I'd love to start here. As far as church names, Legacy Church, you guys are winning. You guys have such a cool name, Legacy Church. We just got to say, as I represent Iron Man, what an honor it is to be here. I know it's not a big deal. I know it's not a thing. Church name is not a deal breaker when it comes to salvation, but man, you guys have a sweet name. Because isn't that what it's all about? Leaving a legacy. There's not a man in this building who wants to be forgotten. I think there's something ingrained in each of us, even maybe as men, but I also believe as a believer, there's something inside of us that wants to do something bigger than ourselves. Something that will last. And so if you don't mind, I'm going to ask if everyone takes out their cell phone really quick. And we're going to start with just a quick, we're going to go there. We're going to get really real, really quick. Adam, you want to go to the next slide? My phone number is right there, 559-790-0143. Would you text me really quick? This is anonymous. You don't have to put your name on it. But let's start this thing off with this. How do you want people to remember you? I'd like everybody in this house to text that number. How do you want people to remember you? It can be a sentence, it can be a word, it can be a phrase. Tom Brady's retiring, right? And he's going to be remembered as potentially one of the best quarterbacks of all time. His legacy. Another quarterback, what's his name? Brett Favre has a different legacy, right? So let's start there. Pat gave me a couple hats, so I got to give a couple of these out. My guy Isaiah, man, it was cool eating dinner with you, bro. And then where is this guy? Man, you can sing, brother. I love it. I was blessed by you. And I got to go to this side really quick. And I saw this guy earlier, and I thought, this guy is a good-looking dude. There you go, my man. Yeah, there you go. So how do you want people to remember you? I'm going to start with this. I believe that when men gather together, mighty things happen. Mighty things happen, and our world is in need of some mighty things. It's in need of some mighty things. And I put together a little slideshow today because, first of all, a lot of times when people look at our world, they think, man, this is a messed up world. This is a broken place, man. And it's really easy to point your finger and try to blame and say this did it, or the devil did it, or this group. But for whatever reason, man, my generation gets a lot of the blame for this. And so I wanted to first start with a couple of reasons why millennials are good for this world, right? Okay, so here we go. So first of all, we have advanced technology, okay? So millennials brought advanced technology to this world. Go and show a couple slides here. You can be sitting on a train somewhere and be texting somebody miles, maybe a world away, yet never talk to the person next to you. That's advanced technology. You can order pizza. You can go on dates. Never have to take off your pants. Go to the next slide. That's advanced technology right there. We've also brought creativity into the world. Okay, this is a normal office building, right? You throw a couple millennials in there, a couple hipsters, and then it looks something like that. That's some creativity. I mean, we're getting some work done. Go to the next slide really quick. Yep, that's efficiency. One more. Yep, they're getting work done. But lastly, this generation, the millennials, these younger guys, they've brought high fashion. They've brought some high fashion. There they are. There they are, my guys. That's a good look. Right, Roger? That's Alf right there. I watched Alf when I was a kid. But my generation has also done a really good job at making this world a little more polarized, a little more politicized, and unfortunately, a lot of us have compromised. Not just my generation, but every generation, right? And if this world needs anything right now, yeah, we need some very strong leaders. We need some strong women in this world, but man, we need some strong men. I saw this definition of broken the other day, and I just thought it made so much sense. For our world, for our country, for families. It says broken, separated into parts or pieces, by being hit, damaged, not working properly, not kept, honored. Now, what a powerful definition. But most of all, man, I look at that and I think of men. I think of dads. I think of young men, boys growing up in this world. And anytime I have the privilege of getting to hang out with guys in a setting like this, especially of a size this big, man, I gotta refocus us for a moment. I gotta remind us of something. I want to kind of get into a little bit of a huddle. I want to encourage us that, man, we were made on purpose. We were made on purpose. And I'm going to say it was for a purpose. We were just talking about legacy. And wouldn't it be nice if it was said of us, "I'll never forget you"? Because sometimes our legacy, sometimes we'd rather be forgotten for some of the stuff we've done, right? But I believe that there's something deep inside of you. There's something, a purpose, a calling that is meant to do something bigger. This evening, I just wanted to share one sentence. It was one sentence. It's found in the book of Ephesians. One sentence written in the Bible that I believe is fascinating, that I believe is packed with some powerful truths for men. And it was written by a guy named Paul. And it goes like this. It says, therefore, this is Ephesians 4:1. It says, therefore, as a prisoner for the Lord, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. And I know, people will be sitting here, you're going to take that out of context. You got to read more. But I actually just feel like this is all we need tonight. And as we sit here in Legacy Church, talking about this word legacy, I want to just break down this sentence. And I want to kind of start in the back here. And I want to backwards map and just take a few moments of our time just to look at it. That first thing, it says, the calling you have received. The calling you have received. There's this idea that you already have it. That it's already inside of you. We spend our whole life going out, reading books, going on silent retreats, going on vacation, trying to find what were we supposed to be doing? What is the purpose of this? And I just wanted to encourage you that sometimes it's not out there, it's in here. It's already been given. It's imprinted. Now, I wanted to share just a quick, imagine this story. Oh, well, yeah, we can go here really quick. I made this quick little graphic just to get our brain thinking. Imagine the red circle. It says you're doing something you're good at. The blue circle says that you're feeling appreciated. And then the one on the bottom says you're making people's lives better. And it says in the middle of that might be potentially a calling, a purpose. Two really heavy words, right? Sometimes we come to these little breakfasts or church and they'll say oh, go live your calling. And then you walk out and be like, where do I find it? What do I do? I want to encourage you, it's already there. Imagine an inventor. Okay, and imagine an inventor sat there one day and he chiseled. I think I got one over here. One second. There's a spoon right over here. I know it. Imagine an inventor sat down one day and he took a spoon with onions on it. And he engraved this spoon, right? He's making a spoon. He's off of there. And he's sitting there and he creates this spoon, right? This inventor. And that's a beautiful spoon. And he's like, this is nice. This is a beautiful spoon. We're going to do a lot of good stuff with this. And then on the way out the door, he's walking, getting in his thing, and he drops the spoon, right? Imagine this. Just imagine. Man goes on his way, gets on his horse or whatever he's driving and leaves. And imagine that spoon woke up. And it looked around, and it's thinking, what am I supposed to do? It sees the grass, sees some rocks on the ground, and then it looks at the old house, and it sees a shovel leaning against the house. And that spoon's like, well, I kind of look like that. I guess maybe I'm supposed to dig holes. And so imagine this spoon begins to dig holes, little tiny holes in the dirt. And imagine this spoon just does this. And then one day, that inventor comes walking back up. Maybe a year later. Let's say a year later, the inventor walks up. He says, oh, there's that spoon. What does the inventor do? He takes it inside. He runs it under some warm water in the kitchen. He takes some soap to it. He cleans it up. And he sits down and starts having a bowl of cereal. Imagine this whole life, this spoon was digging little holes when it was meant to sit at the table. And I just wonder how many of us men, how many of us believing men who believe in a God who is much bigger than what we think or imagine, I wonder how many of us are just digging holes thinking this is what I'm supposed to do. The Bible says that the Lord has plans for you, and they are good. You were created on purpose, for a purpose. For a purpose. The next part in that little sentence, it says, therefore, as a prisoner of the Lord, I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you've received. That word urge is short for urgent, right? As a matter of fact, the ancient language of that word is almost begging. It's like on your knees. It's like, I'm asking you. And so scholars have gotten together and are like, well, what is the meaning? Why is this sentence so urgent? Scholars have gotten together and they say, well, the guy who wrote this is Paul. And he probably wrote this sentence when he was an older man. They say that this is one of the older books he wrote. He's sitting in prison, and he's probably sitting there as an old man with gray hair. He's probably sitting across the cell from some convict who's full of regret. He's probably sitting across the cell from some dad who wishes he would have done something more. He's probably sitting in the cell as an old man thinking to himself, man, if I could say something, I want to urge you. Because it's not about tomorrow or next week or in a month from now. Man, it is right now. I need you to live a life worthy of your calling. And he writes this little sentence, and he sends it out, not just to people, he sends it out to the church. And he sends it out to the men. He says, I urge you to live a life worthy of your calling. And in that first part, it says, therefore. Therefore is a literary device, right? It's meant to point to whatever happened first. I can't just walk up to Isaiah and say, hey, therefore you should wear a jacket tonight. He'd look at me kind of weird because it doesn't make sense. It's out of context. But if I said, hey, it's super cold out, man, therefore you should wear a jacket, it makes sense. So that means everything we just talked about, calling you've received, urgent, all of that doesn't make sense unless you knew what it said right before this. And so I wanted to read that. And it's actually pretty famous. A lot of you guys have heard this before. But I'm going to ask you to hear this with fresh ears. I want you to see this with fresh eyes. And I want you to think about this urgency that you may have. And it's in Ephesians 3. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us. To him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. What it's saying is this: before you know your calling, before urgently, you got to do this today. Before you do all that, you got to know that there is a God that is able to do so much more than you can think, so much more than you can imagine. And that power that is able to do more than you can think of, it's at work in you. It's in you. It's in me. And he says all this, and he says, therefore, that God who can do so much, who's at work, his power is at work in you. He says, therefore, as a prisoner of the Lord, I urge you to live a life worthy of your calling. I want to just pause right there for a moment. And I want to remind us that this calling, it's a heavy word. Purpose. We go out, we read books. The Purpose-Driven Life, love that book. Good book. We read, we watch shows, we watch TV. We're trying to figure out, what am I supposed to be doing? Am I supposed to go into this job? Am I supposed to marry this girl? Am I supposed to be with this guy? Am I supposed to be doing this or that? God, what is my purpose? And I want to just take a moment and just say, what if it was simply doing the very next thing right? Because this is urgent. This world needs men, strong men. This world needs you. If you have a pulse right now, then I believe that you were created right now on purpose. And it was for a purpose, because the world needs you right now. Your city needs you right now. This church, Legacy Church, needs you right now. I believe your family needs you right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything's all smoothed out and all that. No. Your kids, your wife, your cousin, your brother, they need you right now. Man, we urge you. I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling you have received. I share this because I need a reminder sometimes. Sometimes I get so lost in the busyness of life. Mark Twain, a pretty well-known author, said this pretty cool quote. The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Why were you born? Why were you created? And I wonder if we get out of our head and into our heart, that we would begin walking and stepping in the right direction. Legacy Church, man, I think this community needs you right now. I asked you earlier to text me. And the simple question was, how would you want to be remembered? Take a listen. I want to be remembered as a caring and loving man. And I'm not going to read all of these. I'm just going to read a couple. One who shows sympathy. One who shows empathy one who can make an impact. Legacy. This guy said, you gave me the black hat. I want to be remembered as a sharp sword sheathed. Whoa, it's better than a dull sword freed. That's deep. I want to be a man of prayer. Saw my guy's shirt over there. It says men of prayer. Imagine if men of this city, of this nation would rise up and pray. I want to be a man who gives his all. I want to be a man who is surrendered to do the will of the king. Oh, this person said, I want to be remembered as a man who does the impossible. I want to be remembered as a godly husband and dad. I want people to remember me as a friend, as a helper, a servant of God to my family, my friends, my church, my community, a child of God. I want to be remembered that I changed the course of my family's direction in Jesus. I want to be remembered as a man who shows up for everything. I want to be a man who is a kind and loving husband. This person said, I want to be my brother's keeper. I want to be remembered as a good dad. When we think about what we want to be remembered as, it taps into that ingrained, God-given power in you that says you were meant to do something impactful, something's lasting. You were made on purpose, for a purpose.